in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Right now.
Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York,
Brooklyn.
All my people, you rocking with the chat.
Hit that.
The like button would tell me where you at. You know, Step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Don't talk,
Where you at? Where you at?
don't talk,
Where you at? Where you at?
don't talk,
What?
don't talk,
What?
your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knicks family. Welcome to the channel. Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. So this is a pop-up show. Salute to Harlem Girl for giving me that title. So I am running with it. Ever so often, I'll get an inkling to just pop on and do a live show. And this morning was one of these days, I should say. So we're going to talk about Josh Hart today. Well, actually, the trade for Josh Hart, Cam Reddish, first-round pick, protected first-round pick, and some other players. We'll talk about that. Basically what's in the trade. We'll talk about the tail of the tape, his height, his weight, his wingspans, things like that. We'll talk about his career stats. We'll also talk about where he likes to take his shots and how good he is at making them. And then we'll talk about his fit on the Knicks. So let's get into it. Shout out to the chat. Jeff Clafter, I appreciate you. Tim Smith, JJ, Geraldine MacGyver, David L, Keyshawn, D Nice, King Ribby, RM, Kerry Cox, Dripmore, Bodega Wi-Fi, Keith Turner. I hope I didn't. Shy Legacy. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, you know my condition. Jarrell. Shout out to Jarrell. Listen, don't forget the big show tonight, right? The Just Nicking It show. We're going to do a full recap of the trade deadline. The Josh Hart trade, we'll talk about that with a panel. We'll also talk about any other moves the Knicks may do today, but we'll also talk about how trades done by other teams impact the Knicks. So a huge show tonight. Be sure to tune in. All right. And I'll be checking back and forth as I always do with the chat. All right, let's get into it. All right, so this is the New York and Portland trade. As far as I know, the Knicks received Josh Hart. They gave up Cam Reddish, a 2023 lottery-protected first-round pick, Svi Mykhailiuk. I don't think I got that right. And Ryan Arcidiacono. I think I got that one right. Now, it's unclear right now if that 2023 lottery-protected pick is the Knicks' own pick, is it the Dallas pick, or is it one of the other protected picks that the Knicks have, Detroit and Washington? It's unclear at this point. Unless somebody has information, please drop it in the chat if it's been confirmed since I last looked. It's lottery protected, right? So that means if the Knicks don't make the playoffs, they will be in the lottery and they get to keep the pick. If the Knicks make the playoffs, they will not be in the lottery, so they have to give up that pick, right? It's as simple as that. Now, if the Knicks don't make the playoffs and they keep the pick, they have to give Portland 4 second-round picks, right? But if they make the playoffs, they have to give up that protected first-round pick. Let me know what you think about that. I know I was on with Freezy last night, and he thought that was a bit too much for Josh Hart. One thing I don't have a slide on here is his contract situation. So I believe he makes he made $12.9 million this season, whatever is left of that. And then next season, there is a team option, if I'm not mistaken, or is it a player option for the same $12.9 million? I believe it is a player option. Somebody correct me. Correct me if I'm wrong. So there is a risk that the Knicks may not be able to re-sign him. right? There's a risk that he's just a rental. Now, he is CAA, right? My understanding, and I could be wrong, is that his agent is Jalen Brunson's best friend, right? So they all know each other. I'm pretty sure the Knicks have some assurances or some feel that unless the bottom drops out, they'll be able to re-sign him. Whether or not they want to re-sign him, whether or not this was a good move in the first place, we'll get into that, right? But I would think if you're giving up a lottery protected first round pick, Cam Reddish, two other players, that hopefully you have some assurances that you'll be able to re-sign him next season. All right. Who is Josh Hart? He was born March 6, 1995, so he's 27 years old, and he'll be 28 if I'm not. Yeah, he'll be 28 March 6. He's 6'4". I know some other places will say he's 6'5". I went by NBA.com. 6'4", 6'4", 215 pounds. Now the wingspan varied. Some places it was 6'7.5". Other places it was 6'9". But he's a plus. His wingspan is he has a plus wingspan, right? So that means he should be able to guard, and he has guarded, taller players, right? With that wingspan. College, he played at Villanova. He won the NCAA tournament in 2016 on that same team with Jalen Brunson. They're pretty good friends. He's played for the Lakers. He was drafted by the Lakers in 2017. He's played for New Orleans, now Portland, now the Knicks, right? He was the 30th pick in the 2017 draft. So he came out as a senior, right? He played all 4 years at Villanova, and then he came out. So he's 27 years old. He has 5 years of experience. Let's look into his career stats, and then I will check in with the chat. I mean, I should have put the teams. I should have put the teams he was on during these times. But basically, what I wanted to point out is he's a very good rebounder for his size, right? His first season, he averaged 4.2 rebounds right out of college. This season, he's averaging 8.2 rebounds, 7.2 rebounds last season, right? So when you think about somebody who's undersized, what are you concerned about? You're concerned that they're not strong enough, and they're going to be overpowered if you put them at the small forward position. You're concerned that you're giving up rebounds on the boards, right? You're concerned that the player that they're defending is going to be able to shoot over the top because they're not going to be able to contest, right? These are all of the things that you're concerned about when somebody is 6'4", 6'5". Well, he's 6'5", 215. He's pretty strong, right? And I'm not saying that he can't get, posted up and overpowered to the basket. He can, depending on the player, but I don't think it's going to be that easy. He has a 6'7" wingspan, right? So, he puts his hands up. He should be able to affect a shot depending on who it is, right? Depending on who it is. So he has a 6'7" wingspan, and he's rebounding. So you're not going to lose a lot rebounding wise. 8.2 rebounds. If he does play the 3 position, you're going to be fine rebounding wise. There's other concerns with Josh Hart. To me, him being undersized and maybe having to guard a small forward is really not one of my concerns. It's something that he's been doing since he's been in the league. It's something that I believe he can do. So I'm not really that concerned about that part of Josh Hart. All right. 3-point shooting. This is where I'm concerned as far as the fit on this particular team. The Knicks are not a good 3-point shooting team. They're like 23, 24 in the league. Somewhere around there in terms out of 30 teams in terms of 3-point shooting. This year, he's shooting 30.4% from 3. His best was his rookie year when he shot 39.6% from 3. So you can argue that the potential is there. He's done it before. Last season, he shot 34.3, close to average. I think the average was 35 last season. He's capable, but when you look at this team, we could really use a sharpshooter, right? I like Grimes' shot. It's coming along, but it's inconsistent. he's his second year. It's to be expected. Quickly seems to have stepped over the line, right? And he's shooting more consistently, as of late. RJ Barrett is not, so we could stand to use some 3-point shooters on this team to kind of open things up. Now, to Brunson and Randall's credit, they've been able to score despite not having those floor spacers, right? They're playing with RJ Barrett, and RJ Barrett is playing with them as well. They're playing with Mitch, Sims, not a lot of floor spaces, but all three of them have been able to score the ball, right? Will it be better if they had floor spaces? Probably. Free throw shooting as well. This season he's shooting 73%. His worst, his second season, he shot 68.8, percent. He's just not a shooter. He's just not a shooter. That's just not him. I think with Josh Hart, what you're gonna get now, he can knock it down occasionally. Don't get me wrong. He's a player that he's a connector, if that makes sense. He's a glue guy, if that makes sense. He's somebody that can make your team better, and you don't always see it in the stat sheet. You're gonna see the rebounds. You're definitely gonna see that. He knows how to play, super smart. We need high IQ guys who understand how to play the game of basketball, and he does, right? So you're going to get that from him. He's going to be a good defender. He's going to be a good rebounder, and he's going to pass the ball, right? He's averaging 4 assists, right? Last season, he averaged about about the same, about 4 assists. So he's somebody who moves the ball. He looks for players. He's not a ball hog. Obviously, it's not somebody that's going to be out there creating his own shot. So I think what is your expectations of him? Right? Like if you're expecting him to be a star, that's not, you're just not going to get that. But you are going to love him. You're just going to love him. The way he goes about his game, the way he plays, the way he hustles, the way he defends, his toughness, you are going to love him. Now, you may have some concerns about the compensation. I can't argue with you there. You can have some concerns about how much better are we really? It remains to be seen. You can have some concerns about, are we going to be able to sign him? Did we give up Cam and a protected first round pick and 2 other players for somebody who might not resign? Those are concerns as well. Let me check in with the chat. Then I want to get to his shot chart and talk about, where he likes to take his shots and how accurate he is from those spots. Keith Turner, in 3 years, all we got from Leon Rose trade-wise is Josh Hart. Not one big move yet. Yeah, I can't disagree. I wonder if there are more moves to be made. I mean, we freed up some roster spots. So is there other moves to be made? We shall see. C-Mac, it's going to be the same results either way. He might get a steal. That's it. Height matters in the NBA, especially guarding someone. I would agree, but I think there's some people who can do it even though they're undersized. And I think he's one of them. Dre Crowder is another one. PJ Tucker is another one. So I'm not disagreeing. I just think that toughness, being able to hold your position, smarts, that has something to do with it as well. How many athletic, tall, lengthy guys have we seen that can't play defense, right? And I think when it comes to Tibbs, I don't even think he's into the measurables. I think he's into your toughness, your defensive IQ, your overall IQ, those sorts of things. But I do hear you. All right. Wayne Patterson, I expect in 2001 Aaron McKee type performance out of Josh Hart. If you remember that, I do remember that. I followed that team. I'm a huge Allen Iverson fan. I only have 4 basketball players that I really, really like, and Allen Iverson is one of them. So I did follow that team. Stafford Don, good morning. Appreciate you. The negative start already. Jesus, ridiculous. Still Knicks fans, salute Ron. Hope all is well with you and your family. What's good, family? Salute to the chat. Salute staff. Nice Josh Hart pickups. Oh, all right. he's on board with Josh Hart. Keyshawn, another move gonna come. Hopefully, Sadiq Bey. I don't know how many roster spots we have. Is Tibbs going to expand the rotation? I think it goes to 10, right? I think it goes to 10. I think in that backcourt, in that second unit, you have a McBride, IQ, Hart, Obi. If he's still here, I Hart, second unit, right? That's a 3-guard unit, right? I think that's less time. I'm not saying RJ Barrett won't get any run with the second team, but it's going to be less minutes with the second team, right? You have to account for Josh Hart's minutes. I don't think he's coming here to sit on the bench, right? So that's a 3-guard lineup. I know some people are concerned that you taking RJ Barrett out defensively. You put in Josh Hart in, heart to heart, right? You put in Josh Hart in defensively. What is that going to be like? Josh Hart is undersized, but I got to be honest. I'm okay with Josh Hart playing the 3 over RJ Barrett at this point in the season in terms of how RJ Barrett has been playing defensively. I'm not saying RJ Barrett will always be this way. I'm not saying he has always been this way, but this is where he is right now. I'm okay. I'm okay with that 3-guard lineup because those 3 guys can defend. All of them are undersized. Deuce McBride is undersized, right? But he has that long wingspan. He has the toughness. He can guard the position. I think Josh Hart can guard the position as well. Gail Barry, salute to you. Hi, Steph. I wish Cam the best. What Tibbs did, he is miserable and he will reap what you sow. Hopefully, Cam will thrive. Yeah, hopefully he will. Hopefully he will. Now, I don't know if he starts, if Shaden Sharp, their rookie starts, but he should get some time. Chauncey Billups, if you know anything about Chauncey Billups' story, it took him a while before he caught on, right? He went to a few teams early in his career before his career took off, right? So if anybody understands that, it's Chauncey Billups, right? So Cam will probably be given every opportunity to succeed, right? For him. He's a talented young man. I happen to think that he just hasn't figured it out yet. I know people think it was Tibbs holding him down. I don't believe that. I just don't think he's figured it out yet. Hopefully in Portland, he'll get an opportunity to figure it out. Bodega Wi-Fi. 90% of our team are tweeners. Yeah. Sean Kearns, yes, I believe we can. If it's a free agent signing, we can't right away. Okay, that's something that's going on in the chat. D977, where's the stars this front office has been waiting on? Yeah, Shotgunner, you can hit me for the link. All right. Hart is a wing. JJ Mikal Bridges would have been a great fit here. Yeah, he would have. Okay. All right. Let's get into Josh Hart, where he likes to take his shots. And I hope you guys can see this, though. So this is from Cleaning the Glass, subscription required. Let me blow this up for myself so I can kind of read it out to you guys. So basically what I have circled is his percentage at finishing at the rim for his career, right? So when he started out, he finished at the rim 40%. Excuse me. This is frequency. I'm sorry. When he first came into the league, most of 40% of his shots was at the rim. 47% of his shots were 3-point shots. This season, 52% of his shots is at the rim. Only 28% is at the 3-point line, right? So that 96 means he's in the 96th percentile, which means only 4% of players at his position takes more shots at the rim than him. That's his bread and butter. That's where he takes most of his shots. 28% at the 3-point line and 20% of his shots in the mid-range. Most of his shots is going to the rim, right? and I haven't ran this lately with Brunson and Randall to find out what the splits are, but a good number of their shots also come at the rim, or in at least in the in the around the rim area, right? Same thing for RJ Barrett. So the good thing is that all of them are not going to be trying to drive at the same time, you know, but that's where he likes to take his shot. 52% of his shots is at the rim. Now, look at his accuracy. He finishes at the rim 70% of the time, right? So he's taking 52% of his shots at the rim and he's hitting 70% of them. That's in the 80th percentile, meaning only 20% of players at his position finish at a better rate than he does. Right? That's all. That's very good, borderline elite at finishing at the rim. But as you can see, in terms of three-point shooting, he's in the 11th percentile, meaning 89% of players at his position shoot better than he does from the three-point line. Not going to get a lot of shooting there. And even in the mid-range, right, he's finishing 34% of his shots in the mid-range, 24th percentile, which means 76% of players at his position shoot better in the mid-range than he does, right? But he knows where his bread is buttered, right? He knows he's not good from the three. He takes 28% of his shots from there. He knows he's not good in the mid-range. He only takes 20% of his shots from there. He knows he's really, really good at the rim. He takes 52% of his shots at the rim. So he knows where his bread is buttered, right? And he finishes there, right? So this is just so we kind of understand what we're getting in Josh Hart. He's a 6'4" shooting guard, small forward, undersized small forward that, in my opinion, can defend the position, will pass the ball and play make, right? Will rebound well for his position. He's a connector. He's a glue guy. He's not a star player. He's a role player. However, these, in my opinion, are the high-level role players you need if you eventually want to become a championship contender. You need to upgrade your role players. You need to have role players where every single night I know what I'm getting from this player. Every single night. Now, keep in mind, he started 51 games for Portland. They've played 51. He started every single game for them, right? Because of his shooting, I just don't think he starts for us. Only because of his shooting. If he was a better three-point shooter, I think he would start over Grimes. But he's not. So I don't think he will start. We shall see. Stranger things have happened. Let me check in with the chat. How many shots a game he averaged? I'm not sure. But listen, he played on a team with Dame. He didn't get a lot of shots. So I think that part he's used to. I think he's used to playing with ball-dominant players, right? He got 3 of them on this team. He, one, when he played, with Dame, if you want to count Anthony Simons as well, he's used to playing with ball-dominant guards. He's somebody that's going to play off the ball. So I don't think you have to worry about shots with him. Would you grab Melo off the wire? I would not. Like if this was like a championship contending team, I would, but it's not. So I wouldn't. Kevin Taylor, good. Appreciate you for joining us this morning. Good trade. I like his basketball IQ plus his rebounding ability, which will look very good with that second unit. He would help all 3 big men plus Obi Toppin. Can't wait. Now leaking out. He, again, to your point, he's somebody that may not show up in the stat sheet other than, the assists will show up, the rebounding will show up, but a lot of what he does is not going to show up. Eddie Alvarez, appreciate you. Knicks are moving on from Dookies and going Villanova. Yeah. Jeff Clapter, he is an elite rebounder for his position, no doubt about it. Bodega Wi-Fi average for assists. Okay. A la Watts, we already kill in the paint. Adding Hart just takes us up higher into the foul line more. Yeah, I mean, he's shooting about, what was it, 70, 70%. C Max says, just sign a Bridges. Don't matter which one. I don't think they're signing Miles Bridges. White Falcon 44, not feeling it at all. Josh Hart, why? RJ in the first and second for Bridges. I mean, I believe the Nets have cap space now, so they should be able to absorb RJ's contract. Because remember, he's on a poison pill contract, as they term it, which means the team that he goes to have to be able to absorb the average of his contract, which I believe is 20 of his extension, which I believe is 23.8 million. And the Knicks can only bring back 10.8 million. So that makes it hard, especially if the team he's going to doesn't have space. I think the Nets have space now, right? Having moved off of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, who's now in Phoenix. I woke up to that news. But I don't see Brooklyn trading with the Nets. Maybe because RJ is younger. He's 22. Bridges is 26. Maybe. I don't think they do that. Pablo M also said RJ in a pick for Bridges. All right. Does this improve the team? Defensively, it does. Because what I think it means is that I think RJ is going to get less minutes. I think RJ is going to get less minutes. I think, like I said earlier, Josh Hart is going to run with that second unit the most. I don't know if he's going to, there was a time when there would be 5 out. He would stagger it a little bit, but for the most part, that 5, they would have a second team and a first team, and they didn't mix that much in terms of just when they were staggering in and out for like a minute or two overlap, right? I don't know if we go back to that, right? If he sticks with a 9-man rotation, then that means Miles McBride is out of the rotation, right? If he sticks with a 9-man rotation, now we're talking about IQ and IQ and Josh Hart in the backcourt. RJ Barrett still running with the second team. Obi Toppin, if he's still here, and Hart, right? I personally think we're better with a McBride, IQ, and Josh Hart up top, even though Josh Hart is undersized. Defensively, I think we are. Right? It remains, that's the big question. Are we going to go to a 10-man rotation or stay with a 9-man rotation? In terms of like our playoff aspirations, does this cement us as a 6th seed? I don't think so. I think what's cementing us is that the Nets have moved off of Kyrie and KD. So that gives us an opportunity, more of an opportunity to finish 5th or 6th, right? Because you would think that, Jersey is probably going to fall out of the top 6, though Dinwiddie and Mikal Bridges will have something to say about that. I think they drop out of the top 6. I think that does more to solidify us as a playoff team than adding Josh Hart, even though I like him. Even though I think the Knicks community is going to love him. You're going to love his hustle. You're going to love what he brings to the team, his IQ, his defense. You're going to love all of that. I don't know if that guarantees us a 6th spot if Brooklyn hadn't made those changes. What do you guys think about that? All right. As far as, yes, building blocks, and Brooklyn still has Cam Thomas. Right. Yep. Eddie Alvarez, don't sleep on the Nets. They still have some talent. Yep. Shotgunner, our schedule is tough, though. Our schedule has been tough for some time. At least now, I think it's the 5th toughest. Right? At one time, it was the 1st or 2nd toughest. Bayside Jr., if we swap Deuce for Jay Hart, we become a better team. Hart can actually score, or you can go 10. Of course, he makes us better. He can score at the rim. Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. I think he came into this season averaging 9 points, 8 rebounds. He could definitely score at the rim. As far as a 3-point shooting, I don't know if it's not that much better than McBride. I mean, McBride has been shooting it a bit better as of late, but he's a veteran. And this is the thing where I think it helps us when we get into the playoffs, because it's a different animal. And when you get into the playoffs, you do want to have players who have played in the NBA, who've played in those types of situations before. Matter of fact, I have to check to see, did he play in the playoffs with the Lakers or New Orleans or Portland? Right? But he's played in the league longer than McBride. So you would think in the playoffs, he's going to be a bit, more prepared than that. And that's my concern with this young team when it does come playoff time. We talk about, we're not going to move from the first round because this team isn't good. Well, why is the team not good? Because our average age is what, 24, 25? It's a very young team. When you have a Randall and a Brunson playing the way they're playing, you want to surround them with proven players. You can have 1 or 2 young players on the team, but if you're going to ever get to championship contention, a lot of these young players are not going to be on the team. Look at the championship contenders now. They may have 1, maybe 2 young players up and coming. And when I say young, first, second year players in their rotation. Most of them are vets. You don't have to be a Grizzly vet, but you got to have some NBA experience, been around the block a few times, right? So I think the Knicks being as young as they are, I just don't think that bodes well for them being successful in the playoffs, right? Look at your rotation right now. Mitchell be back, but McBride is in the rotation. Grimes is in the rotation. These are really, really young guys. Sims is in the rotation now. Not sure if he'll still be in the rotation when Mitch returns, right? So you do want to have guys that can pretty much hold their own and won't be intimidated by the situation. Dwayne Dennis, why can other teams hit the grand slams and upgrade their roster and the Knicks struggle at this so badly? Somebody said something on Twitter and it says, the Lakers can get a haul for hardly nothing, and the Knicks have to pay everything to get a little bit. That was the gist of the tweet. Eddie Alvarez trade for Bridges, and our starting 5 is Mitch, Randall, Bridges, Brunson, and Grimes. That's defense and grit. That's New York basketball. RJ isn't getting traded until the summer. If he does at all, he has the poison pill, which makes it hard to trade until about July 1st, if I'm not mistaken. That's Baysider Jr. C-Mac, we're not going to be championship contenders anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, yeah. We gotta make some moves if we are going to be championship contenders. AO, if he was a better 3-point shooter, we would have paid more for him. He has potential on this team. He's more respectable than McBride on the court. Okay. All right. Ashley E1, Wiz, appreciate you. West Coast. Is it a coincidence that Leon Rose signed Josh Hart to CAA? Yeah. And hopefully that relationship helps us when it comes time to re-signing, right? Or are you guys okay? Like if we don't re-sign him and we gave up Reddish, protected first, maybe 4 seconds, depending on how it falls, and Svi and Ryan, are you guys okay if we don't re-sign him? Stafford Don, I'm glad we got rid of Cam. Tired of the ridiculous saying that Tibbs didn't develop him when the Atlanta drafted him, and Nate McMillan had 4 years also to develop him, but he's Tibbs' fault by Cam. All right, tell us how you really feel, Stafford. Keith Turner, I know we didn't trade for Josh and give up a first just to see him come off the bench. He needs to start. But Keith Turner, you're not concerned about the shooting? He's shooting 30% from 3. right? I mean, I if he was shooting better, I would start him. I would start him. The only reason I wouldn't is just that I just feel like we need some sort of shooting in that first unit. That being said, offense is not our problem. Even though we don't have a lot of shooting, offense really hasn't been our problem. Nets still have a solid roster. I'm not sure we jumped them. Family. You don't think this team, the Knicks, will jump the Nets in the Eastern Conference standings? Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Tell me how you really feel. All right. Dwayne Dennis, not too happy about OG. He's always hurt. Once someone's name is mentioned, we jumped on the bandwagon in heat over someone that's not healthy and is a role. Listen, everybody is a role player. If you're not a star, you're a role player. I'm with you though on the injury, but Josh Hart is a role player. If you was to bring in Mikal Bridges, he would be a role player. If you're not a star, you're a role player. You play a role on the team. Grimes is a role player. You know, I like OG. I just think they're asking for too much. If the Knicks can get him cheaper, I would take him. You know, and there's nothing wrong with us wanting to upgrade the Knicks roster. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Still, Knicks fans, how much better is Mikal Bridges over RJ Barrett? That's a good question. I think RJ Barrett is having a down year. He very well can rebound. If you remember Tyler Hero, I think a year or so ago, had a really bad year and rebounded the next year and had a really good one. I'll always give the edge to the guy who plays defense. I don't think RJ will ever be that guy on defense, and I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. So that's why I'll give Mikal Bridges the edge. You know, he shoots the three. I saw him put the ball on the floor. You know, I was watching the Phoenix game, so his game is really, developed. You know, it just depends on which RJ Barrett we're talking about. Last year's RJ Barrett, this year's RJ Barrett, the RJ Barrett we're imagining him to be. We shall see. You know, we shall see. That should be your saying. Tell me how you really feel. Yeah, yeah. They never develop Cam. Listen, I mean, this is the age-old argument. Who's responsible for the development of a player? Right? What actually we say this a lot. What do we mean when we say develop? Is that Tibbs going out there, giving Cam Reddish individual instructions, going through drills with him? Is that what we mean by development? Do we mean giving the player unlimited playing time? Is that what we mean by development? Do we mean, having a developmental team work out with him? Does that mean, just letting him know what we need from him so he could take that to his team so that they can work on it? Like when we say a team or a coach isn't developing a player, what exactly do we mean by that? I don't think we all mean the same thing by that. Right? One of the things that stuck out to me is when Tibbs said they track what's going on in practice as well. And that's why they stuck with McBride, even though he wasn't shooting well, because he was shooting well in practice. And they felt like at some point it is going to translate to the game because we see it in practice. I wondered, why was Grimes being rushed into the starting lineup? He was coming off an injury. He played like 6 games last year. I mean, I'm trolling, but he didn't play a lot of games last year. And, he was out 1 game back. Boop, he's in the starting lineup, right? He had a setback. He was out. He came back. Him and Cam shared minutes. It was 11-man rotation for a few games. Boop, next thing you know, he's starting. Like, what's going on? They were tracking him in practice. They was tracking how he defended in practice. They was tracking how he shot in practice. They were tracking how he got to the rim in practice. Those things make a difference. So I wonder, I don't know, I wonder, how does Cam look in practice? How does Obi Toppin look in practice. We only see them the minutes that they get in the game, whether that's 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 17 minutes, whatever they get. But the coaching staff and the organization see them much more than that, right? So they have they have more to go on than just what we're seeing in a game, right? So I wish Cam well. I don't personally, I don't think it's on the coaching staff to develop the player. I definitely think it's on the coaching staff to coach the player, right? In practice, point things out. Let them know what they need to be doing, what we need from you. Yes, you need to do that. And if they earn the time, they should get the time. But I'm not understanding what you mean by develop the player. Like go out there and do drills with them. Like I don't understand. I don't understand that. Bayside Jr., at least we don't need to talk about Cam anymore. So that's a bonus. I mean, unless he does well, in Portland. And, newsflash, just because somebody does well in another team doesn't mean they would have did the same thing on your team. Right? James Glass, I've been saying this for a while. The Knicks have more film on Obi than we have film on Randall from all 4 years. It isn't like he plays 10 minutes in practice. Yeah. David L. Bridges going to turn 27 in a few months, about to hit his prime years. I'm not sure Bridges' ceiling is much higher than it is right now. I don't know if this is what Ron was alluding to. Maybe not so much right now between RJ Barrett and Bridges, but that Bridges, he may be at his ceiling, maybe. And many believe that RJ Barrett isn't, right? That he has another level that he can go to in time. Stephen Okongwu, I hope I got that right. Thing is, Queen, Nets were going to trade Cam Thomas, but now he looks like a gem for them moving forward. Just wish Tibbs would have given him for time when Cam came back. Nets were going to trade Cam Thomas, but now he looks like a gem for them moving forward. Just with Tibbs would have given him time when Cam came back. Got you. Yeah. See, Mac, practice is not the game. It's not the game environment, but for coaches, that's where they get confidence in you. And so I hear what you're saying. That's where a coach will say, you know what? I've seen enough. I think I want to give this guy some more time. And when the player gets more time, they may cut it, they may not. But for a lot of coaches, that's where they make their decision. And I think Tibbs is one of those. Tibbs is one of those coaches. All right. I just wanted to get on real quick and just, talk a bit about Josh Hart, just give you, his measurables, the teams he played for, where he likes to take his shots, how accurate he is, so that we kind of know what to expect for him. Now, all of that being said, sometimes a player will come to, go to another team and play totally different, shoot the ball better. I would welcome that. Maybe he shoots the ball better. I mean, his rookie year, he shot 39.6%, I believe, from three. There's been some regression since then. His attempts have went down as well. One thing about Tibbs, though, he encourages you to take the three. If you open, the Knicks is like 23rd or 24th, something like that in the league in threes. But if you open, he wants you to take them. So his volume may go up, right? Because I don't think Tibbs is going to go for you passing up shots, right? And I think that was a reason why we would say, why is McBride taking, like he's missing? Why you keep taking a shot? I think that's just how the Knicks, that's what the Knicks want from their players. If the shot is open, if it's a good shot, take it. Whether you've been hitting it or not, take it. So maybe Josh Hart gets his volume up, maybe shooting more of them, maybe his percentage goes up. We shall see. Jeff Clafter, how you practice is how you play a lot of times. Listen, coaches have a say in the type of players that they want playing for them. And this is like, we act like what's going on in New York is not something that's going on all over the NBA. You can look at any roster in the NBA, pull up any roster and ask yourself, why isn't this guy playing? It could be that the coach is not feeling them. The coach doesn't feel that this player fits their scheme. The coach doesn't feel like they don't like this player's effort. Who knows what it is? But you can look up and down the NBA rosters and you're going to find players who can play, who don't fit with that team or don't fit with that coach. So situation matters as well. They go to another team, they flourish. Why? Because the system fits them. The coach sees something in them. The coach sees, something that they bring that can fit what that particular coach is trying to do. This is not unique to the New York Knicks and Thibodeau. All up and down the league. People talk about Tibbs not playing young players. We're not talking about that so much this year, but we talked about it in years past. Go up and down the rosters in the NBA. Even now, there are young players sitting on the bench on teams that are not good. Right? Is Book Knight injured? Like, what's going on with Book Knight? Why is not playing? Charlotte has like 14, 15 wins. Mark Williams, their number one pick, first round pick, excuse me. Maybe he'll start getting some run, but when I look at the box scores, he's getting like 12, 14, 15 minutes. Some guys are just not ready. They're just not ready, So what's happening again with the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau is not unique. It happens all over the NBA. All right. I'm gonna read this, but I'm gonna read this as I'm out the door. Tonight, the Just Nick and It show, again, we'll go over this trade. We'll go over any other trades the Knicks make today. We'll also go over any trades, just NBA trades in general, and specifically any trades that impact the Knicks, like KD going to Phoenix for 4 number ones, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. And a pick swap, I believe. Not bad. That's a good trade for Phoenix because they're ready. They're at that point. They're at that point. All right, Saturday I'll be back with the morning recap show, and Monday evening, Queens Court. All right, let me just shout some people out. Kerry Cox, we still need a 3. Appreciate you. Stephen Okonkwo, I hope I got that right. I appreciate you. Stanley Mann, I appreciate you. Stafford Don. Hart will make the Knicks a better rebounding and defensive team. Imagine if they get Bridges from the Nets, we will be a top 3 defense, and this makes us unguardable. He will definitely help our defense in rebounding. I don't think Tibbs has slept in the last 20 games with the way the Knicks have been playing defense. Right? Shout out to Kerry Cox, who believes Brooklyn will slip several spots. Shout out to It's Me. Shout out to C Mac for the love of the game. Who's another one who likes the pickup? Appreciate you, Hardwill. Salute to Eddie Alvarez. Pleased with Ashley Inc. 1. He's not pleased with how much we paid for him when Josh Richardson and Sadiq Bey are available for cheaper, in addition to being over 6'6". Only thing I'll say with it, how do we know they were available for cheaper? We don't know. We don't know if Sadiq Bey and Josh Richardson were available for cheaper contracts. Shout out to Baysider Jr., Pablo M., Jeff Clafter, Quiet Money. I appreciate you, my brother. Stafford Don, Jarrell. Hope I'm getting to everybody. JJ, I may say some people's name twice. Y'all know my condition. Still Knicks fans, Building Blocks. Eddie C., Costa Rica. Appreciate you. Hopefully you'll join us tonight. Mikal is good, but still immature. Wow. Like immature in terms of his game? Probably. Pablo M. Keith Turner, I appreciate you always. Shotgun, I appreciate you. Cool Kai G, I appreciate you. Not hard to trade Poison Pill. It just means you're trading him at next year's salary. Correct. Which would match up with Bridges. But I don't think we could take up. I don't think we can only take back 10.8. It's one-sided. That's what makes it difficult, but still doable. Shotgunner believes Leon Rose should be fired. Josh Hart and Brunson and the last 3 years, garbage. Really? How could you say Brunson is garbage? The Knicks are nowhere near where we are without Brunson. He's top 1, top 2 in clutch points this season. Come on now. Come on, Shotgunner. I get it. I know you like Quickly, but you can still like Quickly without, degrading or not liking Brunson. You can like 2 people. They both play for the Knicks. Sean Kearns hasn't given up on RJ, but he's willing to trade him for Mikal Bridges. All right, let me see. Mike Boy, I appreciate you. I think I got to everybody. Jeff Clafter, Tim Smith, JJ, Geraldine McGyver, always in the house. I appreciate you. David L. All right, I'm out of here. Anybody? Kareem Grant, I see you. I see you. Anybody else I forgot? My apologies. Tonight, 9 p.m., the Just Nick and His show. Maybe we go a little earlier. I don't know. We'll see. Until next time.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't talk,
Where you at? Where you at?
don't talk.
Where